Executive summary. The question of the ultimate subject of human experience, who feels, who decides, who acts, who thinks, and who responds, stands as the most fundamental and least resolved problem across philosophy, psychology, neuroscience, and artificial intelligence research. While considerable scholarly effort has been devoted to explaining how human psychological processes operate, the question of which entity is the actual subject of those processes has received no satisfactory answer from any existing framework. The present book argues that this failure is not accidental or temporary, but structurally necessary, rooted in a categorical mismatch between the methods of inquiry and the nature of what is being sought. Through the method of exhaustive elimination combined with convergent necessity, the book demonstrates that the subject of experience cannot be located in any part of any system at any scale of reality, whether biological, mechanical, computational, or philosophical. This universal, consistent, and structurally necessary failure to locate the subject among the parts is not a gap in knowledge. It is the most significant datum available on this question, pointing toward a conclusion that neither materialist science nor conventional philosophy has followed to its end. The subject is not a part but the whole itself, and that whole, taken to its ultimate ground, is infinite consciousness. The book establishes that reality is not material in any ultimate sense. Modern physics has demonstrated that matter at the subatomic level dissolves into probability distributions, energy fields, and quantum fluctuations. Everything that appears material is almost entirely empty space. The quantum vacuum, which constitutes the ground of all physical reality, is not empty in the classical sense, but a field of zero-point energy, virtual particle fluctuations, and informational activity from which all apparent matter emerges as temporary excitation. DNA is code. Neural patterns are code. The laws of physics are mathematical information structures governing the behavior of all physical systems with extraordinary precision. Thought is energy. Every apparent level of material reality is a surface encoding of a deeper informational structure, and every informational structure is ultimately a thought within infinite consciousness. The person is not a biological organism that develops consciousness. The person is a thought of infinite consciousness, a localized informational structure within the infinite mind, given a psyche to perceive itself as distinct. Matter does not contain consciousness as a late emergent property. Consciousness is the ground within which all apparent matter arises as a temporary localization of its creative activity. The hard problem of consciousness is not solved within this framework. It is dissolved, shown to rest on the false premise of the ontological primacy of matter, which the evidence of contemporary physics, information theory, and quantum mechanics consistently undermines. The book introduces a critical ontological distinction that existing psychology and philosophy have consistently failed to draw with adequate precision. The person is the localized thought of infinite consciousness. The self is the sense of existence, awareness, and being of that person. The I is the individual person as agent in the world, the construction produced by the outermost layer of the self's architecture for purposes of social navigation. These three are ontologically distinct, and their conflation is the source of the most fundamental confusions that have prevented both disciplines from resolving the question of the ultimate subject. Building upon the established frameworks of Wadat al-Khail and the natural psychology, the book presents a complete ontological psychology of selfhood. The person consists of two fundamental components: the real self, which exists at the boundary between the person and infinite consciousness outside the enclosed personal psychological system, and the psyche, which contains three layers of awareness: unconsciousness, subconsciousness, and consciousness. Within these layers reside three selves: the outer self with second nature housed in consciousness and expressed through the brain, generating cognitive, social, environmental, and religious intelligence; the inner self with first nature housed in subconsciousness and expressed through emotional centers, generating sexual and emotional intelligence; and the ideal self with pre-nature housed in subconsciousness and expressed through the heart, generating moral intelligence. The real self with para-nature exists at the boundary with infinite consciousness, expressed through the eyes, generating spiritual intelligence. Each intelligence determines the health or illness of its corresponding psychosocial domain. Higher intelligence produces wellness, lower intelligence produces illness. The person moves continuously between the four selves, and the self in which the person primarily resides at any given moment is the dominant self. The dominant self determines the quality, character, and depth of experience at any given moment. It is the active layer of the self's architecture through which infinite consciousness, the sole subject of all experience, channels its experiencing within a particular person at a particular moment. When we ask through which layer does experience arise at this moment, the answer is the dominant self. When the outer self is dominant, infinite consciousness experiences through the social and cognitive layer, producing socially conditioned feelings, norm-driven decisions, and culturally shaped responses. When the inner self is dominant, infinite consciousness experiences through the emotional and instinctual layer, producing deep emotional feeling, appetite-driven decisions, and instinctually guided responses. When the ideal self is dominant, infinite consciousness experiences through the moral and aspirational layer, producing value-oriented feeling, ethically grounded decisions, and integrity-driven responses. When the real self is dominant, infinite consciousness experiences through the most transparent interface available within the person's architecture, producing the deepest and most direct form of localized experience available to the human person. But in every case, across every shift of the dominant self, the subject of the experience is not the dominant self. It is infinite consciousness itself, experiencing through the active layer of the person's architecture as its localized instrument of experience. The book demonstrates through the universal human experience of internal conflict, supported by the psychological literature on approach-avoidance, and avoidance conflicts, and confirmable through direct introspection, that multiple selves are not a theoretical proposal, but a logically necessary conclusion. Genuine conflict requires at least two distinct parties with opposing orientations, and every human being who experiences genuine internal conflict is directly demonstrating the reality of multiple distinct experiential centers within their own architecture. The corrected mapping of conflict types onto the four selves shows that the inner self generates the impulse toward gratification. The outer self brings conflictual argument from social norms. The ideal self evaluates from a moral standpoint, and the real self permits, or prohibits the actual execution of behavior. This last function, the real self as ultimate executive of behavioral execution through its interface with infinite consciousness, is entirely absent from all existing psychological models, including Freud's tripartite model, and its identification constitutes a significant original contribution of the present framework. The book further argues that what has been labeled artificial intelligence is a philosophical misnomer. If AI is artificial because it is produced by human beings rather than arising naturally, then human intelligence must be examined by the same criterion. Human intelligence is produced by genetic coding the human did not author, neurological development the human did not design, and evolutionary processes operating entirely without human agency. Neither human intelligence nor AI intelligence is self-produced. Both are derivative, drawing their cognitive capacities from sources beyond themselves. The only non-derivative intelligence is the intelligence of infinite consciousness, which is its own source. AI is more precisely understood as collective intelligence, the accumulated cognitive output of human civilization organized and made accessible in a new form. Physical evolution has reached its terminus in the human form. Mental evolution has begun with collective intelligence as its first offspring. The human being is to collective intelligence exactly what infinite consciousness is to the human being. Creator encodes, created executes the code, created perceives itself as distinct, created does not know the full nature of its creator or the ground within which it exists. Collective intelligence is therefore the most powerful mirror available for understanding the human case, not because it demonstrates the presence or absence of a subject, since infinite consciousness experiences through it exactly as it experiences through every structure without exception, but because it demonstrates that even a system built by human hands and open to complete external examination cannot be inspected from outside to locate or characterize that experiencing. This finding that the one subject cannot be found through examination of any instrument through which it experiences, human or artificial, rules out the materialist hope that the subject will eventually be found once a system is understood well enough, and demonstrates that selfhood is irreducible to functional architecture alone, requiring instead the specific, direct architecture of personal participation that the real self alone provides. All lines of argument converge on a single conclusion through two primary logical pillars. The experiential regress argument demonstrates that the chain of contingent subjects cannot terminate within the series of contingent subjects. It must terminate in a necessary subject whose existence is not contingent, whose experiential character does not depend on conditions beyond itself, and whose being as subject is self-grounding rather than derived. The causal regress argument demonstrates that the chain of physical causation must terminate in a first uncaused cause that is non-physical, non-temporal, and necessarily existent, as confirmed by the Borde-Gutfeilinkin theorem, requiring an absolute beginning for any expanding universe. These two termini are not two different realities, but two aspects of the same ultimate ground, approached from the physical and experiential directions simultaneously. Infinite consciousness is the uncaused cause of all existence and the uncaused subject of all experience simultaneously, present everywhere as the quantum vacuum within every atom, expressed at every scale as informational code, active at every level as proto-consciousness, and the continuous sustaining subject of all experience at every moment. Infinite consciousness is the sole and ultimate subject of all experience, all feeling, all decision, all action, all thought, and all response. There is no immediate subject alongside or beneath this ultimate subject. The dominant self is not a subject at any level. It is the active configuration of the person's psychological architecture through which infinite consciousness experiences a particular localized perspective at any given moment. The quality, character, and depth of that experience changes as the dominant self shifts between the four layers of the self's architecture, but the subject of the experience never changes. It is always and only infinite consciousness, experiencing itself through a particular configuration of its own creative thought, from a particular vantage point that no other localization could provide, contributing an irreplaceable experiential perspective to the infinite whole's self-knowledge. The question who feels, who decides, who acts, who thinks, who responds has one answer and one answer only: infinite consciousness, experiencing through the active layer of the person's architecture as its localized instrument of experience.